I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at Ask Adam Torres. And if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Stacie Feller on the line, and she's president over at KangaRoof Austin. Stacie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, Stacie. So I'm excited to talk about today's topic. So of course, we'll talk about KangaRoof and all the great work you're doing for your clients, but in the Austin area. But I also want to do a deep dive into Austin in general, because I know people are moving there from California. I know there's all kinds of different things going, and I get my news from you. So I don't always know what's going on out there. But just to get us started, let's start with our signature question. So Stacie, we at Mission Matters, we amplify stories for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and executives. So that's our mission here. Stacie, what mission matters to you?
That's a great question. I spent a little bit of time thinking about that. And what always comes to mind is a few years ago when I had my management team offsite, and we were talking about our core values, and we were creating our core values and going through the whole exercise. And man, we had so many different things that we were working through that we wanted to have in our core values. And one of my managers just leaned back and said, "Stacie, when you're gone, what do you want people to know about you? What do you want? What fuels you?" And it really just kind of came out really naturally. And I speak from my husband and myself, both in this business, is what fuels us really is providing life-changing employment for hardworking people. And that's what our mission is here. We love what we do. We say all the time that we are in business and we happen to sell roofs, but the business that we're in is actually employing some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet and helping enrich their lives. And so if we can do that every day, it's been a good day for us.
Man, that's amazing, Stacie. I have chills over here. I'm like, I love it. I love bringing these mission-based entrepreneurs and businesses to our program and introducing them to our audience. I mean, this is what excites me about doing this every day, is really hearing these stories. So love to hear this.
Well, that's a little bit about, that's kind of what makes us a little different in this business, in this industry, is that we have a lot of employees. We're up to 60 employees now at our operation. And everyone that comes in, our job, we feel as our managers, is really what can we do to make their life better? Yeah. And that in turn helps us all grow as a better team. Amazing.
Let's and we'll talk more about KangaRoof, because I want to know a lot more about your team. I also want to know a lot more about how the business started, and it's a family business, so we'll go into that. Love bringing family businesses on and giving a voice. Maybe just to kind of get us set up for the overall discussion. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on in the Austin market, because I hear it's booming, a lot going on. So what are you seeing?
Well, yeah, it has been quite crazy in all fronts. From the real estate market, the growth that Austin has seen has just been unbelievable. When COVID first hit last year, a lot of people weren't sure what was going to happen, or were we going to move into a recession? That's certainly not what happened here. If anything, we had more people flock to this area. So as many of you know, we've got a new Tesla factory here. Of course, Dell Technologies is a big employer here. We have got Amazon's moved in, Facebook's moved in, Google's moved in. I've got a big Apple campus here. So we are seeing a tremendous influx of people that are moving from all parts of the country, a lot from California, but from all parts of the country are moving to this area. Texas is kind of an area that it's almost like a little microcosm of the country. Because we've got energy, we've got the ports down for the shipments. We've got farming. We've kind of got a little bit of everything here in this state. And so we have become a beacon that people are moving towards out here.
Let's talk a little bit more about the real estate side of things, because I know that definitely affects your day to day. So lots of people moving in, obviously, either new builds when it comes to houses, or obviously, they're purchasing homes and renovating them. A lot of different things going on. Like, tell me a little bit more about what you're seeing on the real estate side of things.
Well, on the real estate side, we're seeing a tremendous amount of low inventory of houses for sale. And so we've got a lot of people that are paying way over asking price for houses as soon as they go on the market. As a matter of fact, we just sold our house back in April. Our kids we're empty nesters now. And so our kids are all moved out. We didn't need the big house. We were already planning on selling. And we sold in 3 days. In 3 days, we had 6 offers, all of them over asking price. And so it's been amazing. I heard yesterday of someone who put their house up for sale and they had a contract in 12 hours. So there's just not a lot of inventory for houses on the market. And they can't build fast enough. So what we're also seeing here is what we're seeing a lot in the country is the supply shortage and the labor shortage has slowed down a little bit of the new build just because we can't get the materials to finish the houses out. But they're still selling as fast as they can get them done. Matter of fact, I was just reading last week where Austin has now moved up into, I think, the top 3 of areas in the country for wood framed multi-housing apartment complexes that are being built. And so normally that was your Los Angeles area, San Francisco, Chicago, those kind of areas, Dallas, and Austin kind of was, we'd stay in the lower, close to the 10 mark, and it's moved down to the top 3, which is a sign of people not being able to buy houses here. So they're having to move into apartment complexes. And so we've got a lot of multifamily housing that is coming online here in Austin lately.
That's amazing. What an amazing story. And so, like, what do you think? And I'm looking for whatever your personal bias, whatever it is, like what makes Austin so attractive? Because I see the numbers, of course, you have big companies coming in. We know the things that you could read on any article, but what do you think makes it Austin's just such that place that people want to be?
That's a good question. So I am a native Texan, if you can't tell from my accent, but I'm originally from Southeast Texas, which is down by the Gulf of Mexico. I moved here about 20 years ago. And part of what attracted us here really was the area of the state and the weather aspect. We don't get a lot of the extremes, although earlier in February, we had the worst winter we've ever had, or we had a big freeze that came through. But normally the weather's really mild. You can get to anything from this area here, and but the economy has always been very strong here in Austin. And so from the tech boom that we have, we've got a lot of industries that are here. We've got insurance companies that are out of the Austin market. Pretty much any type of industry, we have some form of it here. In addition to that, again, our location is we're pretty close to anything. I mean, we're 3 hours from the coast, so if you are in an industry that gets shipments in from overseas, you've got the Intercoastal Canal with Houston right there. So it's a lot of it is just the location, the mild weather, and then the folks here in Texas are just friendly folks. So another thing that doesn't hurt is we don't have any state income tax here. So there's no state income tax. So you get to keep a little bit more of your money if you come to live here in Texas.
No, all great points. And I like hearing it from a Texan because I can, we can hear it, we can read about it, and we can look at the numbers, but really just the people. And I've heard of Austin even before this, let's just say boom. I just knew, people in Texas and otherwise, and specifically Austin also. And it just seemed like one of those places that was always on my list. I'm like, if I didn't get stuck on this media side of things, then I'd probably be out there too. But I feel like or at least I've seen like some more and more media outlets are moving out there, more producers, more people from Hollywood. Part of it due to, these taxes and what they're doing in California, and just part of it just the quality of living. It's just like the people that you want to be around all the time. It's like Texas was a great place for that.
Yep, absolutely. Matter of fact, I have a new employee that just started today, and we were chatting this morning, and he moved here from California, and so he's looking to start a life here, and just had heard great things about Texas. Liked the no income tax, like the lower taxes that we have. We're a little bit more of a conservative state, and so he liked some of that and moved over this way.
So let's talk a little bit more about KangaRoof now. So first off, give me the backstory, like how this gets started.
Okay. So actually, my husband started the company. back when he was in college. So he is a construction engineer. He has his engineering degree from Iowa State. He's a Midwestern boy. And so he grew up kind of on a farm. And one summer, a friend asked him, hey, you ever thought about doing some roofing? And he was like, no. And he's like, man, you ought to. That's going to be a good business to be in. And so he started on it when he was in college as a way to help pay for college, and did the first roof 100% by himself. Made a little money, hired the next employee, and then just kind of little by little had a crew. He'd go sell the jobs. They would put the roofs on. And but by the time he finished college, he had learned, he kind of saw what people thought of roofers. And roofers, for the most part, a lot of people think they're kind of bottom of the barrel, kind of not your most trustworthy people. Kind of the industry's kind of could be ripe with fraud. And so he was an engineer now, so he didn't want to be a roofer. So he'll tell you he took about a 50% pay cut and went to be an engineer. And so did that for a few years, and he's really the entrepreneur out of the two of us. And decided he really preferred to be out on his own. So he, like many others 20 years ago, moved to Austin when the economy was booming, and started a general contracting business. Really just almost bankrupted himself in the general contracting business. And so during I think it was about 2009, a hailstorm came through the area where his folks live. They had since moved to Texas. And he called him up and he said, hey, can I come out and do your roof for the insurance proceeds? And they said, yeah, sure, come on. He said, okay, I'll be there in 2 days. Yeah. He gets there in 2 days, and his dad hands him a list of 13 neighbors and says, here's my neighbors. They want you to do their roof also.
Whoa.
And he took a hard look at that point, and he said, you know what? I can be a good roofer, and I can help change the industry one customer at a time.
Wow.
And really that's what it's been ever since then. So he and I met in 2011 and got married in 2012. And during that time we were talking, I said, you ever thought about growing this thing? Because he was a one-man show at the time. And he said, yeah, but I just don't like managing people. And I was like, well, that's what I do. I'm from the insurance world. I spent 20 years in the corporate insurance world. Love the stability, love the steady paycheck. I'm not the risk taker at all. And but I said, you know what? But I manage people all day long. Maybe we can do this together. And so we did. We started out. His sister joined us, and so we kind of were a 3-person management team running the company for several years, and started growing it, and grew it large enough to where in 2016 I could leave my corporate job and move full time into the company. And so at that time, my sister-in-law had grown her territory out where she lived, which was an hour and a half south of here, to where she could spin that off and be her own company. And then I took the lead as the president at that time. And one of the things that I was looking for is, if we're going to change the way people look at the industry, we've got to do things the right way. And we got to make sure that our image and our practices and our values align to what people want. And so we really started working at that point to make sure that we were the best that's out there. I think one of the things you and I talked about before is what kind of customers we're looking for. We were looking for customers that want a relationship. We're not a transactional company and one and done. We want somebody who wants to refer us, who wants to send us more business, who, if they sell their house and they go buy another house and they want to have the roof inspected, we're the first person they think to call.
Amazing.
And so, so that's a little bit of how we got started, and got started with just a young man and his dream, and he wanted to be an entrepreneur, and then I came along and kind of helped scale things and move them to the next level.
Wow, that's amazing. So this all started at in a hailstorm, right? So
it did.
So this hailstorm brought Scott not only a scaled business, so to speak, but also his wife and a future. That's amazing. What a story.
Yeah, got him back into the business.
That's amazing. So now you're focusing on, let's make sure I have this right. So right now you focus primarily on residential, right? So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a residential re-roofing company. So we don't do any new construction. There's great new construction companies out there. It's just not our cup of tea. And so we also do repairs, and we also install gutters. That's all we focus on. I'm a real big believer in you do what you do well, and you stick with that. If you start trying to be too diversified, sometimes you can lose your expertise.
Yeah.
And so we have found that this is what we're good at. So we even hone it down to, we primarily do shingles. And so there are great companies that do tile and metal that are out there. That's not us. So we want to do what we do best and do a lot of it.
And so going in deeper into the company. So you said, I think you have a little over 60 employees now.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about, how important company culture is and like how you've been able to grow and maintain that. Cause it gets hard. Like started with just, a couple people and now you grow, you brought on another employee, as you mentioned yesterday or today. Tell us about the company culture side of things.
Yeah, so one of the things, like you mentioned before, we are a family-owned business. Scott and I are here every single day. Our employees can come talk to us at any time, and they do. And that's really important to us. Gosh, as we've grown, that's one of the things that I've focused a lot on. And I really had to get out of the operations a little bit and put managers in place so that I could focus on the culture, because that was so important to, I think it's important to any company that's starting to grow, is because they can get out of hand really quick. Now, if you have a couple of bad apples, man, those are tough to turn around sometimes. So one of the things that we've done is we put in a very extensive interviewing process because we want to make sure somebody fits in with the culture of who we are. Our very first core value is do the right thing. And so I grew up with a mom and dad that were in a small business. And my dad always taught us, you can do things right, but you have to do the right thing. Yeah. And what he used to say is, you can rob a bank and you can do it right, but it's not the right thing to do. And so my staff hears me say that all the time, we have to do things right, but we have to do the right thing. Yeah. And so those are the folks that we're looking to work, that we want to work with us here. And so, so it plays a critical role in who we are. And what we do, because I'm only looking really for the best of the best to work here. I'm putting my name out on them. Scott and I are very active out in the community. We just attended a local country music festival. So we were just at a local country music festival that's held locally here, and we were sponsoring part of it. And I'm there in my KangaRoof t-shirt, and I hear a lady go, "Hey, Kanga." And I turned around and she was like, "Y'all were just at my house 2 weeks ago, and and we're getting our insurance paperwork, and we're going to be calling y'all back out to get everything." It's just those kind of things just mean the world to me. And that's like I tell my staff, we are out and about all the time. We have what we call our happy neighbor guarantee, which means that I want to be able to walk through the grocery store and not worry about running into a customer and them going, "Hey, we've got this problem with you." And so we really, really focus with our staff. We do a tremendous amount of customer service training. We do a lot of conflict management training. We do a lot of coaching and role playing on things because it's just very important to us that we take good care of our customers, and that our customers know that they're kind of part of our family too. And as being part of that family, we're going to resolve any issues that they have.
So the home services industry, just like in general, I would argue there's probably not as much representation, like women representation, as there could be. So you as an executive, as an owner, as a leader in the industry, like what kind of advice would you give to, other women that may be watching this and thinking, this could be a path, like I've never really considered it, or even, male leaders that are in companies that haven't really considered as much, like strategically aligning, women talent to executive roles. How do you think women can play, let's just say, a bigger role?
There's a couple of things. There's some key things that I've done that I noticed made a huge impact on my growth for me personally, professionally. Number one is get a coach. I have a CEO coach that I meet with regularly, and man, he has really opened my eyes and pushed me. But it's like anything else. If you think about, an NFL team, those are great football players, but they have a coach. They have a coach that's standing on the sideline saying, "Hey, don't forget to do this. Hey, make sure and if you thought about this," and those kind of things. So that's one big thing is get a coach. Matter of fact, my entire management team that I have here, they all have mentors. They all go through coaching programs and things like that, because I just think that's so important. not just professionally, but personally also.
Mm.
But from a female standpoint in the home services businesses, because there aren't a lot of us that are at this level.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've noticed is, one, you got to know your product. You don't know how many times that I have been questioned by male counterparts, thinking that I don't know what drip edge is, or I don't know what different shingle kinds are. Now, I'm not on the roof every day. Have I gotten on the roof? Absolutely. Do I know my products? Yes, I do. I know the business also. And so part of it is know your products and services, so that you can't be buffaloed by people that are looking to show you up some.
Yeah.
Another one of the things that is really, I think is a big thing, is own your authority. If you're in this role, you got to own it. You can't, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to share a secret here. I guess I'm sharing it with the world also. But there are things that I don't always know when it comes to certain technical things of roofing. Okay. Yeah. And so when one of my sales guys or one of my production crew ask a question about how to do something, what I'll do is I go back and I find that answer. I'll go to my husband, who's my engineer. We talk through it and I bring it back to him. And I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. And so, but I learn from that and I make the decision. And if I make the wrong decision, I own that. I own that that's what it is. And we're going to make it right. But the biggest thing is own your authority. But also garnering support, especially for women, from other males in the area. One of the biggest things that helped me out tremendously is whenever my husband and I decided to move me into this president role, he had been in that role for a long time as he had grown the company. So a lot of people still went to him for a lot of questions. And he started immediately saying, you're going to have to ask Stacie that. They would go at, can I lower a price over on this item over here? You have to go talk to Stacie about that. You have to go talk to Stacie about that. And that kept from undermining my authority and really helped move people in the direction of that I wanted them to go, where we were moving the company at the time. So those are kind of some of the big things. The biggest thing is get you a coach, because a coach is going to look at it from a different point of view and going to tell you some things you don't always want to hear, but that's okay. And they're going to help
their job right?
That's right. That's how we all improve. But yeah, know your product and own your authority. Don't be afraid to take that authority. Yeah.
The home services industry, just, as a whole, I think personally, I think it's a great place. There's just great people working, everything from the delivery to the sales to the clients you get to work on. And to me, it's a very special and it's just an intimate industry because you're working on their homes. That's where they're raising their family. That's their hopes, their dreams. For many people, it's their largest investment they're ever going to make, right? So they're entrusting you with, not only a big purchase dollar amount, but they're entrusting you with a lot of, their hope and what their plans for the future are. So what have you found so enriching and rewarding about just being a part of that whole picture?
Oh gosh, I've always enjoyed it, but I think really it really hit me during COVID when everybody was shut down.
Yeah.
When people couldn't go to work, we were considered an essential business, and so we were still working. But when somebody has a leak at their house and their roof, and if you stop and think about it, that leak, it takes a little bit of time for it to show up. So by the time it shows up, there could be other damage that's there. And we're already in a pandemic where people are worried about, and at the time weren't sure what was going on in the air, how this virus was being transmitted. And so people start worrying about, the wet ceilings and things like that. And for us to be able to go and calm them down, say, it's okay, we're here, we can still fix it. We can do it without having close contact, we can. And so, we made those adjustments in our business practices so that we could still serve our customers, but to be able to take the stress level down and go, it's okay, it's going to be all right. We're going to be able to help you out here, and we're your neighbors, and we're going to be here for the long haul. And that's one thing that we really push with Scott and I here. Our whole focus is to be here for the long haul. In our industry, there are a lot of fly-by-night roofing companies. There are a lot of companies that when a storm comes in, man, everybody's a roofer. And so And that's great
Sure.
for entrepreneurs that want to start up. They have zero problem with that. But when you got folks that come in and then leave, and then 3 years later you have a problem with your roof and you can't find them, all that money you spent with them is gone.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere. We're right here. This is where we work, and this is where we live, and this is our home. And so being able to give folks the peace of mind that we can help take care of them has just been, it's been one of the things that I really, really enjoy tremendously.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I love. You can tell when a business is here for the long haul, like, and when you want to make those commitments to your customers, because it doesn't have to be just roofing, but many different businesses. It's like if you spent that money, especially when we're thinking of warranties, all these other things. If the company is no longer in existence and you can't get a hold of somebody, like,
It doesn't matter.
what happens, Stacie? Like, what happens next? Like, because I don't know.
Yeah, well, and so we actually, unfortunately, we hear those calls from customers that say, yeah, I had this company, that put my roof on 3 years ago, and their number's disconnected and I can't find them. Now I've got this leak. Well, if they were still in business, you would expect them to come out and warranty. If you had the warranty on your roof and you bought that package, then they would come out and take care of it. Unfortunately, what happens then is they've got to go call another roofer and pay somebody to do that. And if the company can't stay in business, how good possibly is the work that they did? So you don't know what other problems you're going to have. I will tell you, we're not the cheapest guy out there. We're probably one of the more expensive ones out there. But what you're paying for also is you're paying for that value and that peace of mind to know that we're going to be here and we're going to take care of things regardless, and we're always going to be here. And so the average roofing company is out of business within 3 years.
Yeah.
And so most companies can't make it more than 3 years. And a lot of it is because they underprice things. They underprice it because they don't think warranty. They don't think long-term. They don't think of those kind of things. They think, oh, I'll worry about that later. Cross that bridge later. Well, when that bridge comes up, you got to have some money in the bank to take care of it. And so it's one of those things that's just part of being in business. And it's like I said, we're in business and we sell roofs, but part of being in business is making sure that you've got the funds in the bank to be able to last the downturns, and outlast everyone else. So that's one of the things that I really, really like about that. And also we work with some of the hardest working people you will ever know.
Amazing.
I will tell you, I don't have anyone on my staff that I can't call at 6 o'clock on Saturday evening and say, hey, I've got somebody that called that said they've got a leak and they're really worried about it, but they wouldn't say, let me see if I can get out there and take care of that.
Wow.
So it's really the industry as a whole is just, the home services industry is just really got some great people that work in it.
Fantastic. I think it's so inspiring what you and Scott are doing in general, of course, providing opportunity, but then, great quality, great service, great value for your clients too. So know you got a lot going on. No, Austin is still booming, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So Stacie, like, what's next? What's next for you, the business, the community? Like, what do you see next?
Well, so we are continuing to grow. We had a record-breaking year last year. We have already broke the record that we set last year. We've already broke that this year. So continue with our growth that we have here in the roofing company. We bought a small HVAC company 2 years ago and rebranded it. So we now have Koala Cooling, which is a sister company with our roofing company that we are working to move underneath my fold. My husband started that. And he's been working, so that will be passed off to me by the end of the year. And then we'll eventually probably look at some other home services, maybe plumbing, maybe electrical. Haven't decided quite for sure which one we're going to go to next. My biggest thing is I want to make sure that the roofing and HVAC is solid before we move to the next level. So in the meantime, since, like I said, Scott's the entrepreneur, he likes to do different stuff. So we're actually moving him into a role next year of our dream manager. I don't know, there's a program out there that kind of talks, it's a mix between a life coach and a financial coach. And so he has been taking that, and he's going to be our company's dream manager for our employees. So he will actually work one-on-one with employees to help them make their dreams come true, no matter, regardless of what that is. So, so that's one of the things that we're really, really excited about moving into over the next year.
Man, that is exciting. A dream
Yeah.
manager. I'm sitting here again. I'm like, oh, this is you just keep innovating. And as you add these different like pieces to the puzzle, and as you keep on, taking on more and more responsibility, I mean, obviously you're providing more value, and which comes with more reward. And sometimes more headaches from one entrepreneur to another, right? But that's why we do what we do.
Yep, that's why we do it. Exactly.
Well, Stacie, I'll tell you, it's been really a pleasure having you on the show today and getting to know more about your history and everything you're doing at KangaRoof, and also now Koala Cooling. I mean, that's coming in the pipeline soon, and just your story, you and Scott, and how this started and how you built it. I mean, it's inspiring for me. I know it's going to be inspiring for a lot of the viewers that watch this too. That being said, so if somebody is watching this right now and they want to learn more and they want to connect, I mean, what's the best way for people to reach out to you and your team?
All right. Best way is via our website, which is callkangaroof.com. That's CALL, then KANGAROOF.com. Or if they have HVAC issues, we're at koalacooling.com. Either way, if you want to reach out to me, very simple. My email is Stacie, STACIE at callkangaroof.com.
Fantastic. Well, again, Stacie, thank you for coming on the show. It truly has been a pleasure. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, especially if you're a first-time viewer. Have many more mission-based entrepreneurs and businesses coming up for you, and we don't want you to miss anything. And Stacie, again, it has been so much fun. Thank you for bringing your story to us.
Absolutely. Thank you.